John did report the calls to the FBI and police, but they didn't pursue. The legality of these calls is not relevant to this lawsuit.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it still gives context. And Judy's right. The context matters in a lawsuit because it frames, if you're trying to decide whose story, when there's a conflict in stories, whose stories do I believe? The background like that gives context that would easily lead a fact finder to lean one way rather than the other. So even though it may not be strictly legal, it still has, I think, an impact.
Okay. He contacted her, that's Kate, again, after he called her a prostitute and drug addict. He then called her mom and made those allegations. Oh.
Jeez. I can't imagine why he thinks this lawsuit, unless he thinks he's going to get a lot of money out of them, and I don't see how this, I don't know what juries would do with damages, how he thinks this is going to be good for his career or for his reputation or anything, because other information like that is going to come out, and it doesn't seem to me to be helpful to him.
Yeah, because he still has to prove damages. Yeah. So that opens himself up to an exploration of his finances and his income. And who knows, maybe this whole industry of people making fun of him, it actually could be making him more money.
I bet it did. If I had to guess, because it made him more, it publicized his name more, and it, and probably drove people back to watch the, his original stuff. Yeah, but you're right. At least it's going to have to be proved.
Yeah. I'm glad Miss Judy was too bright to fall for Stuttering John's BS. Too many. Well, I mean, that's kind of harsh. I mean, he's had me on his show a few times and stuff, and I try to be nice to people and give them a benefit of the doubt and stuff.
And you do. So, you're great at it.
Yeah. Why would counsel call something illegally recorded when no court has ruled it illegal? Is that proper advocacy or potentially misleading?
Me?
Yes. I mean, the court doesn't have to rule it being illegal for his attorney to say that.
Right. As long as they have some basis in the facts to make the claim. And here they're saying he didn't know. And under California law, he had to know. So I don't think it's outside, the realm of what you're entitled to say to call it illegal. It may turn out that if it's ever litigated, the court will say no because she was in New York or for other reasons. But I think he's got a basis in fact for saying it.
Yeah. Okay. FYI, John. Yeah, I heard him say that. He said he scored 640 on the LSAT, but then later he admitted he was just lying because Vince said he scored 630, so he wanted to one-up him. So,
and I was going to say to Ellen, the chat, that the fact that somebody says something doesn't make it true. They may be telling the truth. They may not. They may be in error. They may be mistaken. But the fact that somebody says it doesn't make it a fact. Yeah. It only means the person said it.
Yeah. Plus the fact that the high score you can get is a 180 anyway. So that was funny. Carl has a podcast, Roasting Podcasts. Episode 109 was the first Stuttering John review. John reacted by sending a cease and desist as a lawyer and became a regular segment.
So does that mean, Deang Lizard, that he had been roasting other podcast presenters, and then Stuttering John brought himself front and center by doing the cease and desist, and then they focused on him? That's the problem with doing anything here. That sometimes it's better, even if you're right on the law, just not to do anything, to let it peter out. And here, he gave them a reason. He gave them a reason for another show, at least one show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in a way, it kind of all feeds off of itself, where he does something, then other people react, which makes him mad. Then they have more stuff to talk about and more content.
You do family law, don't you?
Yes.
Doesn't this remind you of?
Yeah. It's like, you did this. Well, then I'm going to pick on this thing, and well, I'm going to file this, and it's never going to end. But the lawyers get rich. So, is this really John? I don't think this is really John.
No.
Yeah, how many record deals you got, Prof Jo? Oh, wait.
How many books do you have, Stuttering John?
Yeah, well, that's funny anyway. And he's a comedian, so he'll like it that we're all laughing and having a great time, right? The irony is John became famous on Stern for trolling celebrities on a red carpet, asking rude, obnoxious questions. Now he's suing for being trolled.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's just being trolled. I think the aspect of people charging and profiting off of him is what, really gets his goat. Yeah. So it's not just like, oh, they're making fun of me, but that they're profiting off of it.
Yeah, but that's this continuum, because he's making money doing the trolling. Part of his salary, part of the reason why he's a comedian celebrity that people who have on shows that Howard Stern on, is because he's doing this sort of routine. It's more attenuated, but it's still on that line. Even a newspaper, the Washington Post, writing a news story is also making money off publishing that news story. And that's why it's this line, trying to figure out where it is that it's crossed over and you're really appropriating a name image and you should be paying for it.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, we have so many super chats tonight. Thank you, guys.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah. John believes all the super chats Julie and Carl get on their shows for discussing him belongs to John, that he would be getting that money if they didn't have a show. But I don't agree, because I think people derive joy and laughter from what Julie and Carl are saying in response.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think that's, well, we'll see if it gets to trial, whether he can prove that. That's a hard one to prove, too.
Yeah, because if people really wanted to give John their money, they would be super chatting John directly.
Right.
As opposed to, oh, haha, Julie made a great joke or a great crack or reaction, so I feel compelled to send him something. Okay, it's not all for fun when Stuttering John is trying to take Carl and Julie's livelihood for making fun of him. Carl finding John's show is the only reason Stuttering John makes super chats now. Really?
That's what we just said. That he should let them go, and they're driving, viewers his way, and he's going to come out making money, and he can make fun of them for making fun of him.
Yeah, because everybody wants to be a comedian, right? So it's all good fun until the lawsuits start flying. John stated on camera he knew Kate was recording him, and everything he told essentially wasn't true. Oh, but then in his lawsuit, his affidavit, he said he was just being sarcastic or joking about that. So what's the truth? I don't know.
Yeah, well, if it ever gets to trial, that'll be played to the jury, and they will decide whether they think he was joking or not.
Okay. Steve is assuming that you think the lawsuit is flawed.
I think he's got an uphill battle, but it's very hard. As Judy said earlier, it's really very hard to give any kind of reasonable assessment without having any idea what that show was like, and with allegations in the complaint that it's not clear. I'm sure they've got a basis in fact to say it, but there's no way of knowing how solid the allegations are. And I do think he's a public figure, and the constitutional law on satire gives him a hard row without even hearing that show. But with that show, I think it's harder. Even the private phone calls are an issue because the other party to the private phone call has a right to, it's her phone message also. And in addition, I think the hardest part is the information in these documents was he talked to her again after he knew that she had shared the first run of phone call or the first phone call. It's pretty hard for me to see how he could possibly win on that one since he went in with his eyes open the second time.
Can I sue a former Buffy actor for embarrassing me? So that's like a joke because just last week there's this actor from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Adam Busch, who showed up on John's live stream and kind of had this tension-filled discussion with him where a lot of people said Adam make John look bad. So have you ever heard of Adam Busch?
Nope.
Did you ever watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
No, but there was a show afterwards that was a spin-off.
Prof Jo, would you take this case on contingency?
No, I would not. But for a couple of reasons. One, I really am a really strong believer in free speech and First Amendment issues, and I really believe in a very, very wide range of people being able to say things that I would think are despicable or hurtful or nasty or stupid before I would feel that it reached a level where I'd be willing to bring a lawsuit or do something. And I think I'm being objective about it. I wouldn't do it if it was addressed at me either. I just think free speech and a really, really active public space to speak is the way to go. Although I will say that we're getting to a place that we're not really kind to each other, and I don't like that either. But
is it possible to sue a potato?
You're spelling my name wrong.
Because one of the channels that makes fun of Stuttering John and clips his show, what is this person's name? I don't even know his real name. Is that Cardiff? It's a comedian. But instead of showing his face on his YouTube channel, he has this fake potato with animated eyes and a mouth.
Mr. Potato Head?
No, it's a generic potato. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, you could probably sue the person if you could figure out what his real name is, but you can't just sue a potato in general. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
You could couldn't you do an alias defendant and then have to go find your
Sure, John Doe, aka the potato Cardiff. Yeah.